Respawning after death is nothing new to the video game community, but what if you could do it in real life? What would it be like? Would you still feel like you were you, or just a copy of the original long dead? Well, in the future of Mickey 17, they figured out a way to print out exact copies of a human being. And thanks to more technology, they can upload the consciousness and memories like that. But politics get in the way, so the only respawn character is Mickey himself, who shows that maybe being able to respawn isn't quite as awesome as it could be. Because, as Chucky, the doll, once said, dying is such a B-word. And Mickey 17 shows exactly that. Robert Pattinson is amazing in this. I mean, you can't see a single trace of Edward or Cedric Diggory or the guy who was in the Twin Towers. Mickey's just a relatable working schlub like the rest of us. I mean, he and one of his co-stars, Steve Yeun, really sell just how not too different the future is from now. But wait till we get to some of the other characters. He may be a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone on a space voyage, but he still feels like he belongs right next to the star of Dirty Jobs. And it becomes downright comical when he responds. Because it's not a messy process, but it does rob one of their dignity. Of course, things change when he's pronounced dead and respawned without actually having died. And so, the laws surrounding multiples have to be enacted. And then, in this case, taking out every trace of the original and the clones. But that's when the rebellion starts. Now, I've already mentioned Pattinson and Yeun, who you might know as Glenn from Walking Dead. He's good too. He's very sleazy and kind of a jerk, but in a fun way. Then there's Mickey's girlfriend, who is flawed but likable. She certainly doesn't take any guff from anyone. And honestly, it would have been interesting to see her do some respawns. How that would affect her. And then we get to the villain, Mark Ruffalo. Now, he's been good as the Hulk and Bruce Banner. But he's also an amazing villain. This guy, I'm not going to say who he is like, because you can see flavors of, shall we say, the current political administration and a certain helter-skelter egghead. But let's just say the character is awesomely evil and really stupid at the same time. Evil and stupid. Those are a deadly combination. We see flavors of colonialism and not acknowledging the personhood of natives, which, yeah, it's been beaten to death, but it's still interesting to see in a new light, since the natives in question are more like tardigrades, also known as water bears. They're sort of multi-limbed worm-like creatures, but they're not primitive life forms. They're very complex. And over the course of the film, much is revealed about them. And it's up to Mickey and his friends and his other half to save the day. Overall, everyone's performance was crazy and awesome. At the same time, the film itself dragged a bit. It could have been a bit tighter in places, but overall the story does keep one's attention. The effects, OMG, the effects. I really felt like the spaceship and the two Pattinsons and the cloning machine and the tardigrades and the alien planet were all so believably real. I mean, they had weight. The only thing that looked kind of CGI-ish was this incineration pit, which was full of what looked like lava. But overall, that was the only seam I could see. Everything else looked so real. I felt like those tardigrade creatures were done practically, and the spaceship had to be a CGI enhanced physical model, just like they did in Star Wars later products. Basically, the technology on hand looked like Alien. Lived in, but still more advanced than what we got now. So yeah, overall, the acting, the effects, the story, the setting, honestly, while some might argue that Mickey 17 is basically a copy of a copy of a copy of better sci-fi, I think it stands on its own 2 feet and is a bit of a mold breaker. I mean, it does take the premise, what if you could respawn, and really choose the meat of that question. It's awesome, but also terrifying to think about. And honestly, any attempt to do a sequel, because the first one was so good, would be a cheap copy, ironically. So yeah, this is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, respawning is only effective in video games. In real life, that will mess you up, because trauma can travel from life to life. So don't take the one you got for granted.